So yeah, time to go upstairs and time to look at them 4Ks. Yep. Now this is going to be good because I bet you I'll trip up. At least I get 250 quid off Jammy Beetle. Yep. Oh, hello, Jaws. Okay. This should be good navigating the stairs. Can you see that? Misfits. Et voila! We're at the, oh, there's my stings that I've took out for the 4K video. Hello and welcome along to this video where I talk about my 4K titles part 4. Now I left off at L on my last one, but I still have one title in L, under L, and that is Life. Now I do have the Blu-ray for this, which is situated here. Now obviously what happens is, now I've got the 4K, I got it in the 2 for 10 at HMV. That one there will disappear, and this one will go into, so that's a like for like swap. I don't want to double dip, especially on one that's not really so relevant to you, because you've got the Blu-ray in here anyway, so there's no point in having the two of them, although it's got a lovely slip on that one. So this one here, I would say it's a slight uptick on the Blu-ray. It's not a great uptick, but I like the film that much, and I thought, well, it's cheap, I'll get it. It's at a knockdown price, it's got a slip cover on, why not? So that's why sometimes I do that. I will get a film that, well, obviously I'm future proofing it in a way, but also if it's cheap enough and I do like it, it will make the upgrade up until 4K. But I wouldn't have paid full price for this, because sometimes as well you don't really want to break the bank with these 4K releases. A lot of these ones that I've got will have been cheaper than normal. There's very few that I've bought at full price. There's only a handful, and they are titles that I really want to own, and I will pay full price for a good special edition, but I don't see why I should pay full price for something that I've kind of nearly got as good quality in Blu-ray. Maybe sometimes it's better, but obviously this is a one that divides a lot of people to say, do I want to really upgrade into 4K? Well, if you want to sort of get the best picture quality to a certain extent, then yes, but obviously you don't want to break the bank as well. Well, I don't want to break the bank because I want to spend stuff on other things as well. So that's one of the things behind 4K. If it's cheap enough and it's good enough, then it comes in 4K. Speaking of which, this was a no-brainer to get this one on 4K. I knew that when I saw this at the pictures, it looked stunning at the pictures, and I thought, if this can be recreated on a 4K, and I do check out a review of all of these titles, so I don't never go in and think, well, if I wanted to get Life and somebody said there's something really bad with the 4K of Life, it would have never got bought. But obviously I checked out this one and everyone said this is one of the best 4K presentations going, and I do agree that it just looks stunning, especially it's all outdoors, it's all in like desert scenes, it's action non-stop, and it is an excellent 4K release. And obviously it's going to have some really good sound. The soundtrack on it has got to be good as well, although I can't, without my glasses, I can't really see what it says, but I would imagine these are all at least 5.1 stereo, and also most of them could have Dolby Atmos. You do get an uptick on the sound as well, usually. The next one is The Magnificent Seven. I haven't watched this one, but I did stick it on. I do like the characters in here, especially Chris Pratt and the other actors in here. So it was only £7. It's one of the ones, it said it had a good picture, so I went for it, and I knew that I could get it cheap, so I went and got it cheap. Obviously slipcover as well, so if you see it on the shelves, it's always cheap as well. It never really was one of them ones that came out and was like a stupid price forever. This next one was a one that me and my wife had watched some of. I were a big fan of Jason Statham, and we watched. We get these, usually can get his films cheap. So this one here, I had the other one on Blu-ray, and this one was in 4K, and it is The Mechanic Resurrection, and we'll put it on. We watched it as well as the other film. Watched the other film. This one's not as good, but the picture quality in here is quite stunning. It's very much outdoors. It's very much it's a bit cheesy, but I didn't mind. And also had a little bit of a damage on the slipcase, which I didn't. It's just got a little bit there, which is nothing, and it was only £4, so from eBay. So that was a no-brainer to get that one. Like I say, if you got it and it was £4 and it was rubbish, then you just got rid of it. So it's not that although I have probably spent a lot of money on my 4Ks, I could have spent a lot more money on them if I didn't shop around. Speaking of Jason Statham, it's another one that made my wife sort the pictures. The Meg. Now I'm a big fan of shark movies in general, even the really bad shark movies, which I've got quite a lineup on there of all the ghost sharks and all that type of malarkey. This one here, we really enjoyed it. We had a good time in the pictures. I wouldn't say it was scary at all, but I did think it was a good action film, and I would like them to make another part of this. But the picture quality in here is, I've never seen the Blu-ray, and I haven't checked it out, the Blu-ray in here, but I do know that the picture quality in here is really good, but not as good as it could be, if you know what I mean. I don't think it's a pure 4K title, but it's also one that could have been a little bit better in my eyes, but it's still a good watch. It's a bit grainy, but I think it might be grainy like when they put grain into the film. It looked like that, so it looked a bit gritty. But apart from that, it was a good film. I do really enjoy it. The next one is one that's a series that me and my wife got into by accident. I was watching Graham Norton one night, and Tom Cruise was on. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Tom Cruise. In fact, most of his films I've passed by, and I've never took a blind bit of notice of them, including the Mission Impossible franchise. Now, when we watched this, he was on there, and he was talking about the stunt that went wrong in Mission Impossible. I'm going to say 6. Is this one 6? And from that, we thought, well, I'll have to see the film then and just see what it's all about, because it looked quite good, a bit of action. So we went and saw this at the pictures, funny enough, and we hadn't seen any of the other ones. We really enjoyed it, so we went and bought all the other ones. They're in there somewhere. And I've had apart from number 2, which I didn't much care for, which I should have cared for, because obviously it was directed by, I'm going to blank on his name. He's done some great films, and he's well known for his action films. A Chinese director, but I can't remember his name at the minute. If the picture quality is going a little bit funny, it's because there's some bad weather coming over the horizon there. And this one is the Mission Impossible Fallout, and it does look absolutely amazing in 4K. I haven't watched the 4K yet, but I've checked out some of the IMAX scenes, and they just look unreal, pin sharp. The sound quality, obviously, for the helicopters and all that is just mad. So I don't know if I probably would get them all on 4K to a certain extent. It would have to be a lot cheaper. I don't think 2 would ever be watched again. I'm quite sufficed with maybe the first 3 on Blu-ray, and maybe when it starts to get into the Simon Pegg sort of thing, and it starts to get a little bit more, for me, it's all got action in it, but the action seems to be much better in the later parts, and I can't wait to see what they do with the next part, which should be coming up soonish, hopefully. The next one is a funny one. It's one of the best 4Ks I've ever seen. That's without a shadow of a doubt. I couldn't believe some of the picture quality. Some of the set scenes that they've got in it are just unreal, because you can tell they've really made some of these things. It's a very tactile movie, and to look at it, I just thought this is really, really good. I couldn't wait to watch it, and then when I watched it, I was quite disappointed. It's Mortal Engines. Now I'm going to try it again, and I'm going to try it with my wife and see what she thinks of it. It should have been much better. That's my estimation. Peter Jackson is very hit and miss. I know he's not the director, but he's involved with it. And sometimes he can be a bit like over zealous with his projects, and sometimes go for something that maybe a bit too big for him. I think he did hit lucky with The Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit is a different story. But for me, it's got to be one of the best 4Ks out there, and I do want to. It's a shame, because this film looks so good and they put so much into it, that the storyline just didn't really hold up to what it should have been. But unfortunately, I think that if you're going to see this is going to be a big franchise as well, which I don't think is going anywhere. Sometimes people just want to take a step back and maybe think, is this film, as well as it looking good, is it any good storyline wise? The next one is one that my good friend John at Movie Collector told me about and said, yeah, I want to check it out. And it's Murder on the Orient Express, although this is an Italian copy, which I got cheap again. Mortal Engines was cheap, and I just put a thing on eBay, and when it comes up, when it's cheap enough, I put a bid in. If I get it, I'll get it. And this one was maybe around about £10 as well. And I watched this film, me and my wife, and we had fun with it. I wouldn't say it was a brilliant film. It's quite good, and also the HDR in it, which is what John was talking about, the actual picture quality of it. I must say it's really good. In some parts it's stunning. In other parts I find it a bit of a dark film. I wish it had been outside a bit more, but obviously if they're in a train that can't happen. I did appreciate it a lot though, but is it in my top 10 for all-time 4K picture qualities, which I'll be doing quite soon, a new updated one of it? You'd have to wait and see. The next one was the one that I watched on Sky Movies with my wife, and we enjoyed it. We enjoy all of Kevin Hart's films that we've seen, and this one here is Night School. I had to get this off eBay. It was imported from America, and it was only about £8, and I did like it enough to get it on 4K. The same with the Rock film with him, Central Intelligence. It's a laugh. I've got it in there. I paid £1 for it somewhere, but the 4K is only released in America, and it's just ridiculous money on eBay at the moment, so I'm not going there. If it comes cheap, I'll get it, but I'm not going to kill myself for it because it's not the best of films. So Night School, but it's a really good film, and the colour on here, the HDR on the colours of it is one of the best colour presentations I've ever seen. It's unreal how colourful it is. It's a bright film anyway, and I remember seeing the Sky Movies in HD, and it was Ultra HD, and it was amazing. And this is a really good one. Is it top 10 quality? I don't think so, but for just a sort of run-of-the-mill comedy, it's amazing how much of a vibrancy you have to this picture. Quite shocked it was actually to what I saw in the picture, because obviously the Blu-ray at the moment's probably got about £4 in HMV. It's always on sale, and this being about £8, well, you know, it's not much of a a head scratcher to think, well, I'll get that one instead, and then I've got it, and then it's done, and I like it that much that I wanted in the best quality anyway. But it wasn't, I would never pay full price for it. Now the next one was a one which I had one of the battles of the slipcovers. Speaking of which, it's a war movie, but I got it from for a Father's Day present actually, of my son, and it come without a slipcover, and this was right at the start when it came out. So I begrudgingly went and got one off eBay. The slipcover was great. The case was really poor actually, even though the fella said it was great. So I swapped them over, so I've got the best of both worlds. I've got a great cover and I've got a great slip. I've got a great disc inside. So that's 1917. This film just looks stunning. It's a great film as well. I was really intrigued to see how the one shot of this is just a whole shot, one shot in the film. It's not really, but they do it that way, a bit like Alfred Hitchcock did in Rope. And it's an amazing film for me. It's a must watch. I dig a lot out of it. I didn't know I would get so much out of it, and some of the colours, especially the dark colours at night when they light the flares over the city, it just looks unreal, and the picture is pin sharp. You can see every bit of detail in this, and it's a great film to watch as well. Very highly recommended, that one. The next one is a one that I wanted to see because I've never seen any of this director. I'm a big fan of this director, but I've never seen any of his stuff in 4K. With it being a new title, I thought I'll get it. It'll be 4K. It'll probably be the best it's ever looked, and it probably is the best it's ever looked. But I was a little bit not as impressed as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was a quite run-of-the-mill looking film. Just the palette, I thought it was a bit subdued, a bit muted, not as colourful as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a bit 60s, 70s sort of garish sort of colours, but it wasn't really. The film itself, when I watched it, I didn't know what it was, didn't know anything about it, so I didn't know it was more a comedy than anything. I thought with it having the Sharon Tate connection, I thought it wouldn't be a comedy, but it had more comedic tones than that. I think I'm trying to think who review I saw of it, who said that it's a great film, but they should have left the whole Sharon Tate side. They should have put it out the way. It didn't need to be in there, and I do agree with that. It's a great film, you know. Apart from that, and now I know it's a comedy, I can watch it again with fresh eyes. And also Brad Pitt in it is absolutely unreal. He acts amazingly in this film. But picture quality wise, I do think it's better than the Blu-ray, but I do think the actual presentation of it is not setting the world alight anyway. Now this one here, I watched on Blu-ray and I knew it was a good picture, so when it came cheap on 4K, I had to get it. And it's Passengers. It's got a lovely slipcover in here. It's a bit like a soft touch one as well, and it does look stunning. I do think it could probably look better because it's probably got millions of special effects in it. It probably took they had to render it back down to probably 2K, and then they probably upgraded it to 4K. I don't think it's a pure 4K one because it would take them too long to actually render it. I can understand that. But it's a good film. It's literally like a love story in space, kind of. But we had a good time watching it. We do like those two actors there, Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah, lovely slipcover, that one as well. Glad to get it the slip. Well, obviously I'm glad to get any of them as slipcovers. Now the next one was one of the ones I was after for quite a bit, and I was put off with the Blu-ray because the Blu-ray was meant to look atrocious. Now, interestingly enough, they've been a bit lazy with this, which doesn't bother me in a way because it's quite a good thing to comparison with each other. They've put the old Blu-ray in with the brand new 4K restoration. Now that's no good for somebody upgrading if you want to buy the Blu-ray with a theory that you want to get the 4K down the line, because you're not going to get any upgrade. And it's Predator. Now the Predator disc looks lovely. It's pin sharp. It's got a lot of grain in it, but it's got to have the grain in it to get your sharpness for your picture quality. And also the HDR, the colour in it works really well. In the night scenes, everything seems to come alive. It's definitely the best it's ever looked. And also there's a lot of scenes where they're that dark, a bit like Alien. You can't actually see what's going on. You need that little HDR like uptick to get them things out of the shadows. But the Blu-ray on here has been DNR'd to death. So it's just like watching plasticine versions of the actors going through the paces. So this one really is quite highly recommended because you can actually compare the old really poor Blu-ray to the brand new 4K restoration. So it's quite a strange one for that. In a way, it's done me a favour for thinking, you know, sometimes you'll put it on, you think, well, I haven't got much of an upgrade, but now you think, wow, look, exactly, it's a good demo upgrade disc. If you want to show someone why go 4K, well, this is the one to pull out and say, this is the difference you can achieve. So the next one here, I'm going to give a shout out to a fellow called James from Blu-Ray-Display. He's got a great channel, and also what he does is he sort of presents, he'll get his special edition, he puts it on a table and he presents it, and also it's a good way to sort of to drink in what these special editions are all about. Great channel, and I've had a lot of chats with him, and it's something I do watch regularly. And so he was talking in my last video. He made a comment about do you have any more of the John Carpenter films, and he was mentioning some names, and the answer to that is yes, I do, but I don't. This one here, Prince of Darkness, is the kind of third one in the four ones that they released for Studio Canal. Now this, for me, I'd never seen this before. I'd heard mixed things about it. I did watch it and I did like it to a certain extent. It wasn't my favourite Carpenter one by a long shot, but I did appreciate it. And the picture quality for me, I think it looks stunning on here. They've done a great job in it. It might be some of the outdoor scenes, might be some of the best 4K that I've seen with a Carpenter film. So in answer to your question, James, yes, I've got them all apart from They Live. I didn't get They Live because it's not my favourite Carpenter film. I've got it on Blu-ray there somewhere, and the Blu-ray looks really nice. Now, but after saying that though, I am in the business of looking for it cheap. If I say it cheap, then I will get it. It is going to be an upgrade on the 2K, of course, but it's not going to be I don't know if it's going to be a huge one or not. Like I say, these films, if I've got ones that I am really interested in, or I've definitely got to get, like Escape New York and The Fog, which are two of my favourite films. They Live is one of them ones where you think, well, that would be just a one put on the shelves and just forgotten about, because my They Live Blu-ray has been on there for years and it's never really gotten much attention. I do have it, but I don't really watch it that much. So that's another thing with 4K. Do you want to sort of get films, stockpile films that you don't really have any intention of like savouring or watching and stuff like that? So that's an answer to James about the whole, did I get my 4K, did I get the 4K studio canal of John Carpenter? Well, I got 3 of them anyway. But thanks for the question. Thanks for the question. So the last one I'm going to show on this episode is going to be a one that I heard good things about. I hadn't heard since the last, and actually before I do anything, I'm just going to show a quick thing of the Blu-ray digital, I don't know if I can get that there, Blu-ray Digital's YouTube channel. Okay, so feel free to subscribe to him. I'm sure you'll enjoy his content that he has on there. And the last one here was a one that I saw years ago, quite enjoyed it. I do quite enjoy this actor, and I thought, well, I had heard great things about the 4K, so I thought I'll go back and revisit that one. So I got it in 2 for 15, 2 for £30, and it's really good, mate, I've got to admit. I would say the film's, it's all right. It is what it is. It's not brilliant, but it's, you know, it's watchable. But for me, the picture quality is quite exceptional on here, much more than you think the film like Red Heat would deserve. If that sounds like a thing. Sometimes you get these films where they're like massive films and don't get a very good dealing with, and you get ones that slip right under the radar and they're quite like 80s cheese, but they get some really good 4K restorations. It's a strange one, isn't it? So anyway, thanks very much for watching the 4th part of my 4K series, and I'll be back for part 5. Okay, and I'll put my teeth in the next one. Right, thanks very much for watching. If you like this channel, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers for watching. Take care.